Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, straight game TV. Thank you for tuning in. Said aura of this guy, uh, AI Morris, D'Angelo, iMac Music, iMac, Black I-23. Welcome. We're gonna get into it in a minute. Let a few more people come up in here. Keefe D has spoken out from prison. Does this have anything to do with the bombshell that dropped yesterday? I'm sorry, a few days ago, um, from Diddy's the co-founder of Bad Boy Records, Kurt Burrows, implicating that Keefe D and P Diddy did have a relationship. Just Blaze, Kenneth Malone, TB Special. I thought it was kind of vague myself, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to get into it. Check it out. So, a bombshell dropped this morning. Keefe D live on ABC News. When the initial statement came out in regards to the motion that was granted for Keefe D, giving them another year before they go to trial with the 2Pac murder situation, Keefe D had implicated Reggie Wright Jr. And in implicating Reggie Wright Jr., Reggie Wright Jr. then went and contacted ABC News himself to make a statement in regards to what Keefe D had said. Keefe D then in turn, today it was broadcast, not sure when the interview was actually shot, but today when it was broadcast, Keefe D then in turn, from jail, does an interview with ABC News. And Keefe D dropped the bombshell again, but this time from his mouth, not from the lawyer through court papers or anything like that, right? Keefe D is now claiming that he is 100% innocent and that the prosecution cannot place him in Las Vegas at the time of Tupac Shakur's murder. So that's Keefe D's defense at this particular time. He's saying, look, they can't place me in Vegas. You know what I mean? Despite Keefe D basically stating also where he had stayed in Vegas. Keefe D stated in an interview that he stayed at the Monte Carlo. Right? And so I don't know how that's going to work, but I think one of the most shocking things is, as Keefe D said, that the number one witness, or one of the number one witnesses for the prosecution, and Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., is the person who actually orchestrated the murder of Tupac Shakur. Like I said, we heard that in the court papers. We heard that when the mainstream media was actually pushing that out, from what they had read in the court papers. But today, the shot heard around the world is that Keefe D basically saying that Reggie Wright Jr. is the person who orchestrated the murder of Tupac Shakur. I think this is very interesting. Speaking out from behind bars as he faces the murder charge of Tupac Shakur, as we all know, Keefe D has pleaded not guilty. As he remains in Clark County Detention Center, unable to get bail or to be bailed out from that perspective. And September 2023 was when he was arrested. And it's almost, it's going on something like 2 years, I guess, in September of this year. It'll be 2 years, but he's basically doing 2 years before he can even get to trial. From that perspective, they gave Keefe D, the judge granted him more time, a whole nother year, to come up with his defense. But the major defense Keefe D has said is, number one, that they can't place him in Las Vegas. Number two, that he didn't do it. He is totally innocent, he's saying, and that the person that is responsible for the murder of Tupac Shakur is none other than the person who was supposed to protect Tupac Shakur and Reggie Wright Jr. Reggie Wright Jr. Then made another statement to ABC News, basically stating that somehow he's hurt about what happened to Tupac, because he was, in charge of actually protecting him. Well, we know now what we didn't know before, that is totally false. And the fact of the matter is, we know that Reggie pulled the security off of Tupac. So Reggie making that statement in response to what Keefe D saying in his ABC interview is totally irresponsible, and again, another attempt at trying to involve himself in something in the Tupac trial. Let's go back. And like I said the other day, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you to pay attention to this, because the other day, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. and Gullible John over there on Bums First basically said that if anybody could pull up a video of them, of Reggie saying that the Nextel radio didn't have the capabilities to do what it was supposed to do. He said he didn't say that. Approximately 30 minutes later, I posted a video of Reggie saying that very thing. And it was in question. I mean, it was a question involving the Gotham statement. I posted the video. Look at the video. Reggie Wright Jr. lies under oath to the grand jury, right? Because that video, and Reggie had been denying it for the past 20 some odd years in regards to that. So I posted the video, right? So whoever made a bet with him, you need to collect your money, because he was promising money. They put a little video or a little picture of money to the left of the screen, as if he's actually going to honor the bet. So whoever made the bet with him, you need to go get your money from him, because once again, he lied, and I proved that he lied approximately 30 minutes later, right? But like I said, the thing that hasn't been asked of Reggie Wright Jr. is, why did he pull the security off of Tupac? Why did he lie about the Gotham statement? Why did he lie about the Nextel radio? Why didn't he go to the MGM Grand? Why did he pull Michael Moore off of Tupac? Why did he tell Michael Moore he couldn't have a gun? And why did he tell the other securities that they shouldn't carry a gun, right? But more importantly, why did he pull security off of Tupac when it was his job to do what Suge Knight says? Once again, Reggie Wright Jr. is criminally negligent and complicit in the death of Tupac Shakur. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. set up the atmosphere so that what could actually happen to Tupac happened. It's no different than Comrade Murray in the Michael Jackson situation, right? There were certain protocols and things as a doctor that Comrade Murray was supposed to follow when he gave Michael Jackson propofol, right? He didn't do those things as a medical doctor. Therefore, when Michael Jackson died, Comrade Murray was held responsible and was criminally negligent for the death of Michael Jackson, and he went to jail for that, right? Once again, Keefe D didn't state any kind of evidence that we know of from this particular point. I don't know if that was strategic from his lawyer's perspective, and they're going to have people, like they say they have their investigator, is going to have people come to court and testify how Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was involved in the murder of 2Pac Shakur. But I find it very ironic that soon after Kurt Burrows just came out and filed his lawsuit yesterday, Keefe D had to come and respond based on the fact that Kurt Burrows said that Keefe D and Diddy actually did have a relationship in regards to the $1 million that was the $1 million bounty that was placed on 2Pac and Suge Knight's head, right? The former a co-founder of Bad Boy Records, Kurt Burrows, filed in a lawsuit basically stating, hey, you know what? Diddy and Keefe D did have a relationship. There was this $1 million bounty that he was aware of it. He knew about it from what the lawsuit says. Now, let's be clear. None of this is based in fact from that perspective. It's all allegations at this particular point. So we wouldn't want to get ahead of ourselves. And like I said, but more importantly, yeah, Keefe D went on ABC News. I mean, and it's big, and it's big news. Like I said, so if Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. ever wanted to be involved in the case of 2Pac Shakur, right, because he failed to protect him and he pulled the security off of him deliberately in Las Vegas that night, right? He lied about the statement. He lied about being fired. He lied about not receiving the letter being fired. That was the motive. The motive for pulling the security off of 2Pac was because 2Pac fired him as his personal security, not as the security for death row, but as his personal security. Suge Knight has said all of these things, like Suge said, once again, I'd say it again. Suge said what? You know, I had two of the best guys on Pac that night, but Reggie pulled them off of him. It didn't happen. It didn't have to happen that way. I called and told him to send 5 more guys from the club, right? And Reggie, the Rat Wright Jr. sent nobody. That's criminal negligence. When you were supposed to do something, right? And you didn't do it based on the fact and that your boss told you to do it, based on the fact Michael Moore said he was pulled off, based on the fact Frank Alexander said there was more security that was needed, and Reggie didn't send nobody. Reggie has told us who he is. He said, I'm very vindictive, right? And on that night, he was acting in a capacity that was irresponsible, that was criminally negligent in the death of 2Pac Shakur. The mainstream media not asking the right questions. They're not asking the right questions. They're not dealing with this effectively from that perspective. The first line of defense is security, and Reggie deliberately sabotaged 2Pac Shakur's security based on the fact that he was mad that 2Pac had fired him from his business, from his personal security, approximately 11 or 12 days earlier. Now, what Keefe D evidence they have, I don't really know anything about that. I just heard what Keefe D just said. Keefe D said that the number one witness who testified in front of the grand jury, and Reggie Wright Jr., is the person who actually set up and orchestrated the murder and the shooting of Suge Knight and the murder of 2Pac Shakur. Right? Keefe D basically saying now, I'm innocent. I don't know how that's going to work out in court. You know what I mean? Based on all of the self incrimination that Keefe D has done. And he actually said in the video, I shouldn't have never said nothing. Right? He also claimed that the statements that he made on Art of Dialogue, on all of the other channels and in his book, he says now that he never read his book. But when he went on Vlad, he was saying something different. You know what I mean? You know, and see, the funny part about this is it's basically who you're going to believe. So when you get in front of it, it's one thing to do an ABC interview stating, you know, claiming one's innocence and all of that. But it's another thing when you go into the courtroom. See, when you go into the courtroom, there's going to be discovery. There's going to be, you know, motions over the evidence, what is permissible, what is not permissible. And when you deal with that, when you get in front of a jury and they start to play those statements that Keefe D made, and they choreograph that to set up foundation as far as what their argument is from the prosecution side, it's going to be very hard to defeat that with inarticulate statements. You know what I mean? So, like I said, when Keefe D came out, and said what he said today, he was, he didn't really articulate any kind of defense for himself, and that um, should be applied in the courtroom. But since he decided to speak out on ABC News, I think he could have done himself um, some justice in basically saying, hey, you know what, this is the reason why I'm saying it. This is the reason why I'm innocent. He did say, you know what, they can't place me in Las Vegas. So I think he's hanging his hat on, the prosecution actually having to place him in Las Vegas. But they have a statement from Keefe D in the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police interview that he did after he signed the proffer agreement with Los Angeles and the United States Attorney, and where Keefe D, they asked him, so where did you stay? And he said, the Monte Carlo. So now, him saying that they can't place him in Vegas, and him actually using the statement that he made to the police, I wouldn't say that's evidence enough, but like I said, when you play that in front of a jury, what does the jury believe? Who's the jury going to believe from that perspective? Also, Keefe D said that he was led by police officers, right? Somehow they choreographed. He was told what to say by police officers from that perspective, and I would think that he was talking about Greg Kading. A lot of people have alluded to that Keefe D basically was told what to say in regards to testifying that he was involved, or his nephew was involved with the murder of 2Pac Shakur. I beg to differ based on the fact that after the proffer agreement, see, one thing, if he'd have said it in the proffer agreement and never said it again, okay, we would have been left to believe whether he was telling the truth or not. But that's not what Keefe D did. Keefe D then got behind this book, went on Vlad and said, his book is nothing but the truth, and you should hear it from him, and all of these other things. So, like I said, I don't know how that's going to hold up in court, or if the jury going to say, hey, you know what, I believe this guy, I believe what he had said at first, and I don't think that there's anybody else involved. I believe his statement. Like I said, unless he can, other than what he said so far, like I said, I told you my stance on the Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. situation. But if there's anything else that Keefe D may know that he's not really saying about Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., then maybe he will say that, or that will be revealed in court, if you will. So like I said, because they say they do have witnesses and people that are gonna come and testify or would testify under oath that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is the person who orchestrated the death of 2Pac Shakur. But like I said, this is very interesting. So everybody who ever wondered, or like I said, I've been doing these videos for a while now, and people like, hey, but like I said, here it is. Reggie Wright Jr. is now one of the stars, and the lead, according to what Keefe D was saying, one of the leading suspects from his perspective in the murder of 2Pac Shakur. So, like I said, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about what Keefe D speaking out? Well, like I said, now once again, Brandon Carter, when Keefe D said, he did it for money, once again, what he tells us in the public eye doesn't matter. What matters is what the jury's going to believe, and I can tell you what the prosecution's going to do. They're going to simply do this. He had a proffer agreement, right? There was no money involved when he was signing the proffer agreement. He had done no interviews. Nobody even knew that Keefe D had cooperated with the feds or with the Los Angeles Metropolitan Police Department up until Murder Rap was released. So there was no money involved in the situation then, right? So they're going to say, well, there was no money involved with this. At this particular time, he was under arrest for drug charges. And then when they asked him about the Biggie situation, he said he didn't know anything about that, and he began to confess, right? Listen, y'all. No matter how people want to say, well, yeah, we Greg Cade and them told, look, if the police tell you to tell somebody something that you tell somebody that you did something that you didn't do, and you go along with that, then the police is not the fool, you are. You understand what I'm saying? So the police said, well, we're gonna tell you what to say, and you're gonna be implicated in the murder. Come on, y'all. Come on, come on. A lot of people, oh, he would tell them anything. Yeah, that's true too. But like I said, once again, if that were to be that and that left alone, Keefe D was given the deal of a lifetime, right? He was given the deal of a lifetime. He was given the proffer agreement to tell all he knew in regards to the death of Tupac Shakur. He was given that opportunity and did not understand what it truly, honestly, legally meant. Then he writes the book. The proffer agreement is done. It's voided out based on the fact that Keefe D wasn't supposed to talk about what he talked about in the proffer meeting anywhere else. He did it on Vlad. He did it on the Art of Dialogue. He did it in documentaries. You understand what I'm saying? And once again, he just said in the interview that he did that he talked too much. So he now understands what it is that he did, and I think he wants a do-over, but that's not how this works. You don't get no do-over, especially when you say that you're a gangster and you supposed to honor this code and live by this code. That's simply not what we've seen here. You know what I mean? Displayed and in front of us. More importantly, he cooperated with the government, right? Once again, all of those things are contrary to what gangsters do. If from what we understand to be gangsters. But like I said, once again, that's up to Keefe D. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when we look at this whole situation now, we see it. But like I said, Kurt Burrows coming out yesterday and filing that suit and basically saying, hey, you know what? Sean P. Diddy Combs did have a relationship with Keefe D. And all of the things that he testified to. And also Kurt Burrows is also saying that he was aware of some kind of $1 million deal that Sean P. Diddy Combs had with Keefe D. And these are all allegations, ladies and gentlemen, that he had with Keefe D in order for the situation to happen like it did in Vegas. Kurt Burrows also said the night of the fight, the Bruce Seldon fight, that Sean P. Diddy Combs rented a bunch of cars for people to go to Vegas. And he thought that was odd because it would have been easier to fly to Las Vegas. These are the things that the co-founder of Bad Boy Records, Kurt Burrows, put in a civil suit just yesterday. So I don't know if the motivating factor for Keefe D to speak out was partially because of what that was. And then now, when you think about the bigger picture, now Kurt Burrows probably will be subpoenaed to court, involved in this Tupac murder case. And now it sets up, if the feds want to go after Sean P. Diddy Combs for the being involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur, they can. Circumstantially, they can, right? Kurt Burrows also testified that the money, the $1 million, was supposed to be sent by a carrier, right? But that failed. And then somehow he testified about Eric Von Zip, Keefe D basically, saying that he told Zip to get the money from Puffy, and Zip had kept the money for himself. But I never heard about the carrier situation as far as the money, the $1 million thing. I've never heard about that, but that was one of the things that was said. And so, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, once again, here we have it. Keefe D basically saying, hey, you know what? It was Reggie Wright Jr., the former head of security for Death Row, that set up and orchestrated the murder of Tupac Shakur. Keefe D is pointing his fingers at Reggie Wright Jr. And this is going to get interesting by the day, if you will. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys, please stay tuned. I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming through. You can watch the other videos that I did the other day. Yeah. So what we talking about in the chat? Well, like I said, my thing is, like when you like I said, you go back to the original proffer agreement. There was no money involved. So like I said, when Keefe D said that he did it because money was involved. I think he did it. I think he's, he has a little bit of buyer's remorse, because I don't think that it was that much money involved, that would get somebody to go totally against, the proffer agreement that they had. Another thing, once again, Keefe D didn't understand the fact that he thought that he had immunity, right? And he would say that in interviews in regards to that. He would say, hey, you know what? I have immunity. You know what I mean? And, they can't do nothing to me. I got to deal with the United States government. I mean, U.S. Attorney's Office, right? So when he tried to get the case dismissed and the motion to dismiss the case, which was denied, right? Keefe D tried to make that argument that he had immunity, but they put up the paperwork, I'm sure, and Keefe D didn't have immunity. It was a proffer agreement. And basically, they pointed out that the proffer agreement was broken. So right now, this is where we are. Like I said, what evidence or what kind of argument they're going to make in regards to Reggie Wright, or evidence they're going to show that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was involved, we'll have to wait to see that. But like I say, I thank everybody for coming through. I appreciate you. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.